The courtroom holds its breath. In the judge's hand is a sealed letter. Not just any letter, but the final words of Garrison Brown, a son lost too soon, and a voice silenced by years of family betrayal. As the seal breaks, a storm begins to rise. And when the judge starts to read, Kody Brown's world begins to crumble. Live on record. Forever. Comment below before we begin. If Garrison could speak directly to the whole world today, what do you think he'd say first? The gavel echoed like thunder across the courtroom. A slow hush fell over the room as Judge Kelman adjusted his glasses and stared down at the envelope in his hand. The handwriting was familiar to some in the room. Painfully so. It wasn't the kind of letter anyone ever expected to hear read aloud, let alone in court. But there it was. Garrison's final letter. Christine sat rigid in her chair, her hands clenched tightly in her lap, knuckles pale. Janelle's lips trembled. Mike Kelty and Gabriel looked at each other, silently bracing for what might come. And Kody? He was already shaking his head, eyes narrowed, trying to control the narrative with body language alone. But the courtroom wasn't his stage anymore. That letter was. Robyn sniffled loudly, dabbing her face with a tissue. But no one turned to comfort her. Not this time. Bolded eyes scanned the courtroom. Everyone knew, once the judge started reading, there would be no coming back from what Garrison wrote. The judge cleared his throat. This letter, he began, was submitted as evidence this morning. It has been verified, authenticated, and sealed by the late Garrison Brown himself, stored in a safety deposit box registered solely in his name. Kody's eyes widened. That's impossible, he muttered. He wouldn't do something like this. He loved me. Mary, seated behind the plaintiff's table, whispered under her breath. Then why did he leave it with Christine? The gallery buzzed. Reporters from national outlets, TLC producers, even former friends of the family filled the back rows. No one could look away. The letter began softly. If this is being read in court, then something went very wrong. Maybe it already did years ago and no one wanted to admit it. But I'm tired of pretending things are fine. And I don't want my silence to protect the wrong people anymore. Kody froze. This isn't about hate. This is about truth. Because if my mom Janelle is sitting here right now, she deserves to know everything. And if Christine is too, it means she kept her promise. Christine's lips quivered. Janelle reached over and touched her arm just once. I saw it all. I saw the money disappear. I saw who got the new truck while others couldn't afford groceries. I heard Robyn in the hallway that night, telling Dad that he didn't need to bother with the older kids anymore, that we were already lost causes, that it was time to build a real legacy with her children instead. The courtroom air turned to ice. You could feel it. This wasn't just a family feud. This was going nuclear, Robyn gasped audibly. That's a lie, she shouted. The judge slammed the gavel. One more outburst and I will clear the room. Garrison's words continued. He told her she was right, that I was too defiant, that Gabe was emotional, that we were just angry boys looking to start fires. But we weren't. We were begging for our dad to love us equally, to at least show up. In the corner of the courtroom, TLC cameras zoomed in on Kody's expression. A blend of disbelief, rage, and something else. Fear. Kody whispered to his attorney, but all eyes were locked on the judge. The letter went on. I started recording things. I know, it sounds paranoid, but every time we were lied to or gaslit or excluded, I'd document it. I made a video log. Password protected. Buried on a flash drive just in case. If Christine has it, it means she found the second letter. Kody slammed his hand on the table. What flash drive? Christine's lawyer calmly opened her briefcase and removed a silver USB. The room gasped. If this drive is real, the judge said slowly, we are no longer discussing personal drama. We are talking about financial misconduct and emotional abuse, potentially recorded and time-stamped. Robyn stood up, unsteady. Your Honor, we request a recess, but Christine stood too. Her voice cracked, but it was strong. No, you're not running from this. Not again. Robyn's hands trembled as she clutched the arm of her chair. You don't understand. He didn't mean those things. He was hurting. Christine didn't blink. Exactly. And he still told the truth. The judge nodded to the bailiff, who took the drive and moved toward the tech table. The courtroom screens powered on. Christine turned to Janelle and whispered, Are you ready? Janelle's eyes welled with tears, but her voice was steady. Yes. Let him speak. The screen flickered, and Garrison's face appeared. He was sitting in his truck, hoodie on, eyes tired but alert. If you're watching this, Then I guess they tried to erase what I said. But you can't delete reality. I have copies. I have dates. I have voices. He leaned forward, lowering his tone. I recorded the day Dad told Robyn she was getting full control over the Coyote Pass Trust. I was outside the door. He said, and I quote, "They won't know until it's done. And even then, what can they do?" Christine whispered, "Oh my God." And Kody, for the first time in the trial, looked truly afraid. The judge paused the video and turned to Kody. "Mr. Brown, you will have a chance to respond. But not now." Kody's attorney looked down, clearly rattled. Janelle closed her eyes. He really did it. He really caught them. Christine nodded slowly. And this is only the beginning. The courtroom lights dimmed slightly as the screen flickered to life once more. Garrison's face reappeared, calm, somber, and heartbreakingly young. His voice carried a strange mix of strength and sorrow. It wasn't a rant. It wasn't revenge. It was truth documented. They told the world we were one big family. But they don't show the nights Mom cried when the mortgage wasn't paid. They don't show how Kody moved money from our shared accounts right before each wife filed for divorce. And they never told the viewers why the house on Coyote Pass was never built. Christine flinched. So did Mary. Because it was never meant to be built for all of us. Just for Robyn. The rest of us were distractions. Financial drains. Every person in the courtroom, even the opposing attorneys, now leaned forward. This was more than testimony. This was a posthumous indictment of everything the Brown family brand had stood for. Kody stared at the screen as if willing it to shut off. But the drive kept playing. And with each word, his foundation cracked further. Dad said we were ungrateful. But we weren't asking for money. We were asking for time. For decency. For him to stop calling us problems in front of Robyn's kids. And when we pushed back, he said we were brainwashed by our moms. But I kept the voicemails. The texts. The ones where he said, "You need to stop siding with Christine, or don't bother coming back." Christine's eyes filled with tears. Her hand reached for Janelle's under the table. And here's the part no one knows. The trust fund, the one that was supposed to be divided equally between all the kids, it was amended. Twice. I found the documents. One was dated 2 months after Robyn officially married Dad. The second one, right after Gabriel's birthday. That was the year we stopped hearing from him. This isn't just betrayal, it's erasure. Garrison was erased, and he left proof. Robyn buried her face in her hands. Kody slumped lower in his chair, his lips pressed in a tight line, but his foot tapped, betraying his panic. Christine's attorney stood. "Your Honor, with the court's permission, I'd like to submit Exhibit C, the 2017 Trust Amendment, found in a locked filing cabinet at the Flagstaff property. It removes Janelle and Christine's children entirely and names Robyn's children as the sole heirs. The judge motioned for the document. Was this verified by handwriting analysis?" "Yes, Your Honor. We also have 2 separate notary logs with irregularities." Mary suddenly stood. Her voice was soft, but it cut through the silence. "I have something to add." Christine and Janelle turned to her, stunned. The judge motioned. "Proceed." Mary stepped forward, opening her purse slowly. From inside, she pulled out a leather-bound notebook. This was given to me by Garrison after his last visit to my inn. I didn't read it until after he was gone. But it's his handwriting, his words. Every day, he wrote down what he heard, what he saw, what he suspected. He asked me to hold it until I felt the timing was right. Her hands trembled as she handed it to the bailiff. Inside were entries, hundreds of them. And not just about Kody, about Robyn, about money transfers. About meetings, about conversations heard through vents and doors. April 16th, 2019, Robyn asked Dad if she should be the one to sign the refinance papers. He said, "Just use the stamp. I don't want the others sniffing around." You could hear a pin drop. That stamp, the one used to validate notary signatures, was missing from the family safe. And now, it was allegedly tied to document forgery. Robyn leapt to her feet. "That's not true. He's gone and they're using him to smear me." Christine turned slowly. "You did that to yourself. You erased him when he was alive. And now he's speaking louder than you ever will." The judge raised a hand. "Enough. Mrs. Brown, please sit down or you will be removed." Robyn sat seething. Her face red, her breathing short. For once, she was on the outside of the narrative. The screen lit up again. Garrison had changed shirts. A different day. A different message. If you're watching this part, it means Christine found the envelope marked Vault. That's where I stored the screenshots. The ones that show the payments. The ones that prove Dad used the Coyote Pass equity to fund. Robyn's boutique business in 2020, right after he told Janelle there was no money for a home. Christine's lawyer stood once more. Your Honor, we have those screenshots. The LLC listed as Legacy Hearts Emporium received 4 deposits totaling $117,000, all originating from a family trust account. Each signed by Kody Brown with a co-signature from a Robyn L. Brown. Robyn's voice cracked. That was to keep our business alive. Janelle snapped back without turning. You said there was no business. Suddenly, the courtroom wasn't just about a will. It was about an entire legacy of lies, exposed through the quiet diligence of a son who no longer trusted his own father. The judge leaned back, looking pale. I will need to recess to review this material. This is no longer a simple probate dispute. This could lead to criminal charges. Christine's lawyer nodded solemnly. That's why we're here. As the bailiffs gathered evidence, Kody suddenly stood, trembling. He hated me, he said aloud. That's what this is. He hated me and he turned everyone against me. Christine rose. He wanted to love you. But you made that impossible. Kody's jaw clenched. You think you're better than me? Janelle replied coldly, no, just honest. As the judge recessed the court, the room was left in stunned silence. Reporters rushed outside to file breaking news alerts. The footage from Garrison's tapes was already trending online. And Kody Brown, once the polished face of a proud plural family, now stood at the center of a legal and emotional reckoning that no spin could undo. But just when you think the dead have spoken enough, the clerk receives a new envelope sent anonymously. Inside a second letter. From Garrison, with a date stamp 2 weeks after his death. A sharp knock echoed through the courtroom chamber just as the judge began to gather his papers. All eyes turned toward the doors. A court clerk rushed forward, a thin man with shaking hands and flushed cheeks. He whispered something to the bailiff, who turned to Judge Kelman with wide eyes. Your Honor, the bailiff said, holding up a familiar-looking envelope. This just arrived at the front desk. It's postmarked 2 weeks after Garrison Brown's reported death. It's addressed directly to this courtroom. From him. Gasps rolled across the gallery like a wave. Christine stood frozen. Janelle's hand clutched her chest. Mary's knees nearly buckled. A letter from the grave. Dated after Garrison's death? Who mailed it? And why now? The judge's brow furrowed as he took the envelope, holding it up to the light. Same handwriting. Same wax seal. The initials GB carved into the red circle like a warning. This will need authentication, he said slowly, but his voice betrayed unease. But we cannot ignore its implications. The court technician confirmed the postmark. The letter had been sent from a mail drop outside Moab, Utah, a remote station with no cameras and no signature required. Judge Kelman broke the seal and began reading. If this reaches you late, then that's exactly what I planned. Because people lie in court. People pretend. They smile and shake hands. But not with this letter. This one? This one they won't see coming. Robyn's knees gave way. She collapsed into her chair with a soft groan. Kody's head shot toward her. You want to know why I did it this way? Because you don't bring a knife to a paper war. You bring receipts. And I had plenty. But this one's different. This one is about the person no one suspects. The courtroom stilled as the judge's voice cracked. Dayton, Janelle whispered. No, he wasn't just watching. He was recording. For years. Not for me. For himself. Because even he got tired of pretending everything was okay. But he was scared. Scared of Robyn. Scared of what she'd do if she knew he was collecting evidence. The air was sucked out of the room as the name Dayton settled in. Robyn's son. Her golden child. Her quiet, loyal protector. The judge continued reading. He told me once, I can't do this forever. One day she'll go too far, and I'll be the one blamed. That was 2 years ago. I asked him for help. He gave me access to a folder, hidden in his cloud account. He called it insurance. I downloaded everything. Christine's attorney stood abruptly. Your Honor, we request the court subpoena all electronic storage tied to Dayton Brown immediately. Kody exploded. He's a kid. He doesn't belong in this. The judge replied coolly. He's an adult, Mr. Brown. And if this testimony is accurate, he may be a key witness or an unknowing whistleblower. The room erupted. Reporters scrambled for updates. Robyn's hands gripped the table as if trying to steady the earth beneath her. But the letter wasn't done. If this gets you the folder, then it worked. There are phone recordings, hidden cam clips, even footage from the Flagstaff office. Stuff I never showed anyone, not even Mom. I wanted you to see it raw, unedited. Because when you hear what Dad said when he thought no one was watching, you'll understand everything, Christine gasped. She turned to her lawyer. You said the office cameras were disconnected. They were. Or at least we thought. Dayton didn't disconnect anything. He rerouted the feed to a private drive. I found the password in his notebook. That's where I saw the moment. The exact moment. Dad agreed to forge the notary stamp for Robyn. He said, "It's just one paper. We're not robbing anyone. We're just making sure what's ours stays ours." The gallery went silent. The moment had arrived. A confession, on camera. And the one who caught it wasn't an enemy. It was Dayton. Robyn's mouth opened in horror. He recorded us? Christine whispered. He chose truth over you. The judge gave a heavy sigh. Court will recess for 2 hours. During that time, all parties are ordered to provide digital access to any device linked to Dayton Brown's personal cloud. If the footage exists, it must be seen. As the courtroom emptied into a frenzy of chaos, Mary caught up to Christine in the hallway. You think this will break them? Christine looked her straight in the eye. No, I think it already has. We're just watching the pieces fall. Inside a private lounge, Robyn sat slumped, mascara running, gripping her phone. Kody paced, seething. He was my son too, he muttered. How could he betray us like that? Robyn glared. You pushed Garrison away, and Dayton saw it. He saw what you did to Christine, to Janelle, to their kids. And now you're surprised he doesn't want to protect you? Kody whirled. You think this is all on me? Robyn shouted, You told me to use the stamp! Silence. Kody blinked. You weren't supposed to say that out loud. That's when a voice replied. From the vent above, soft, male, calm, I know. That's why I hit record. The courtroom's security detail flooded the lounge. Dayton stood in the doorway. I couldn't live with it anymore. What happens when the quietest one in the room turns out to be the loudest voice of justice? The video began with a soft mechanical click. The sound of an old security camera feed booting to life. Static hissed briefly, then stabilized. The image was grainy but clear enough. The date in the corner read February 17th, 2021. The angle showed a narrow hallway in the Flagstaff home. Dim lighting. A muffled conversation, just barely audible at first. Then, as if time held its breath, Robyn and Kody entered the frame. Kody looked tired, angry. His shoulders were tense, and he kept glancing over his shoulder. Robyn, arms crossed, spoke in a low, urgent tone. I'm not waiting anymore. We're doing it tonight. Kody's reply came through clearer. You want me to fake a notary signature, Robyn? That's a felony, she snapped. Only if we get caught. Gasps filled the courtroom. The footage was real. The voices were unmistakable. And the confession was now public record. Judge Kelman's face turned ashen. He motioned to the court tech. Pause there. Roll back that line. Loop it. The clip replayed 3 times. You want me to fake a notary signature? Robyn, that's a felony. Only if we get caught. Janelle, seated beside Christine, clutched the bench so hard her knuckles turned white. Christine whispered, That's the transfer date. That's the day my name was taken off the trust. The video continued. Kody and Robyn moved toward a room. Dayton's old office. The timestamp updated. New footage. A new day. This time, Robyn stood alone, flipping through folders. She muttered under her breath. If she finds this, we're done. She pulled a paper from a locked drawer and quickly took out a pen. Then came the sound of a stamp. Kody entered behind her. Did you use the red one? Robyn nodded. Same one Mary used when she signed over the B&B. Nobody questioned it then. They reused the notary stamp. From Mary's inheritance deal? Christine whispered. That's federal fraud. The judge signaled for the video to stop. He turned to Kody and Robyn. I'm advising you both. At this moment, anything you say can and will be used against you. This courtroom may no longer be solely civil. Criminal charges are now firmly on the table. Robyn's eyes went wide. She turned to Kody, panic overtaking her mask of calm. You said no one would ever see those tapes. Kody snarled. And you said Dayton would never talk. In the witness stand, Dayton looked straight ahead, expression unreadable. I didn't want to, he said. But someone had to. Christine's lawyer approached the bench. Your Honor, we request immediate injunctions to prevent any sale, transfer, or alteration of all Brown family property, assets, and trust holdings. The evidence indicates ongoing fraud and financial manipulation by both Robyn and Kody. Judge Kelman nodded. Motion granted. Effective immediately, all known Brown family accounts are frozen pending forensic audit. Kody jumped up. This is a witch hunt. You don't know what this family's been through. Christine finally stood. No, Kody, you don't know what this family's been through because you were never there. Not for the kids, not for the wives, not for the truth. The gallery erupted in murmurs. The audience outside, watching live via court-approved broadcast, was already exploding across social media. Justice for Garrison was trending in over a dozen countries. Robyn buried her face in her hands. I just wanted something secure, she sobbed. He told me the others would never agree to put my kids on the trust. I didn't want them left behind. Mary's voice rang from the gallery. You didn't want ours included. Robyn looked up slowly. Mascara smeared. They were never mine. Mary stepped forward. No, Robyn, but you knew what they meant to him. And you took that away. Dayton spoke again, quietly. She told me I had to choose between being loyal to the family or to traitors. But the moment Garrison showed me the files, I realized the real traitors were the ones telling us to stay silent. He paused, then turned to Christine. He trusted you more than anyone. Christine wiped a tear and nodded. And he trusted you too. The judge looked stunned. Is there anything else we need to see today? The technician hesitated. One more file. Labeled for final day. It was a voice memo. Garrison's voice again. Calm, resolute. If this is the last file, then the truth is out. And I'm proud of that. But there's one more thing. This wasn't about destroying my dad. I wanted him to see us. All of us. I wanted him to look us in the eye and know we mattered. That our silence wasn't consent. It was survival. And if Robyn's watching, I forgive you. But forgiveness doesn't mean immunity. That final line hit like a cannon. The courtroom didn't breathe for 10 full seconds. Judge Kelman closed his eyes, then exhaled deeply. This court is now adjourned until further forensic review is complete. But let me be clear. The days of silence are over, and the system will respond accordingly. As everyone stood, a hush blanketed the room. Christine reached for Janelle. Mary stood beside them, 3 women. 3 stories, 1 war. Finally moving toward resolution. And as Kody turned to leave, he caught a glimpse of a face he hadn't expected to see. Savannah. Standing at the door. She looked straight at him, then walked past. The morning sun barely filtered through the dusty windows of the courthouse. Storm clouds had rolled in above Flagstaff, heavy, gray, and ominous. Reporters clustered outside in the cold, murmuring into microphones as cameras rolled. Inside, the courtroom buzzed like a shaken beehive. Everyone was talking about the same thing. Savannah Brown had been subpoenaed. Until now, she'd remained in the background, quiet, grieving, processing. But this time, she walked into the courtroom not as a child, not as a victim, but as the next bombshell witness, and the last voice Garrison had trusted. As she entered, all eyes turned. Kody flinched as if struck. Christine placed a hand over her mouth. Stunned. Janelle stood. Savannah wore all black. No makeup, her hair tied back. Her eyes locked forward, sharp, dry. Unflinching, she took the stand without hesitation. State your name for the record, the attorney asked. Savannah Rose Brown, she said clearly. You were Garrison Brown's sister? She nodded. I was his little sister. And his last call. That line cracked the silence like thunder. Some people gasped. Others looked away. But no one missed the gravity of what she'd just said. Kody shifted in his seat, visibly sweating. His attorney leaned in but didn't speak. Savannah, Christine's lawyer said gently, can you explain what you meant by that? Savannah swallowed hard. Then she began. It was the night he uploaded the last video. February 26th. He called me at 2:11 a.m. He said, Sav, this will be my last storm. I'm not giving up. I'm giving it all away. I can't carry it anymore, but someone needs to. And that someone is you. Her voice cracked. He sent me a backup folder. Every video, every file, but most importantly, a document. She reached into her jacket pocket and handed it to the bailiff. Her hand didn't tremble once. Christine gasped. Janelle leaned forward. Kody's face drained of color. Robyn was already crying. Judge Kelman examined the envelope. Inside, a notarized affidavit signed by Garrison Brown. The date, 2 days before his death. The contents, a sworn statement declaring that the Brown family trust had been illegally amended without consent, with forged documents and false signatures. Garrison had included copies of every altered file, every comparison, and every signature analysis he had compiled. He had even included screenshots of Dayton's surveillance folder, just in case the originals were erased. This wasn't a conspiracy theory. It was an investigation. And Garrison did it alone, while everyone else was pretending nothing was wrong. "Savannah," the attorney said softly, "why didn't you come forward sooner?" Savannah's eyes filled, but her voice never wavered. "Because I didn't want to believe it. I didn't want to admit my dad would sign away our future like we were trash." Her eyes cut to Kody. "I didn't want to believe that you saw us as liabilities." Kody finally stood, voice trembling. "Savannah, you don't understand what was happening behind the scenes. There were business issues, family pressures, and you—" She interrupted him coldly. "Don't you dare say you don't understand. I understood every time you didn't show up for birthdays, every time you missed calls, every time Garrison texted you and got no reply, every time Gabriel cried because he thought it was his fault, every time Mom sat alone, waiting for someone who already chose a different family." The courtroom froze. Kody opened his mouth, but the judge raised a hand. "Mr. Brown, sit down." Savannah turned back to the attorney. "There's one more thing." She handed over a printed text thread, one the court had never seen. Kody to Garrison. January 12th, 2021. "You're pushing too hard. I told you, let the trust go. Let the past go. Stop digging into things you don't understand." Garrison's reply, "I understand enough to know we're being erased. I won't stop. You can't scare me." And Kody's final text, "Then I wash my hands of you." That was the last message Garrison ever received from his father. The courtroom held its breath. Even the judge seemed stunned. Savannah continued, "You wanted him gone, and now he is. But he left me as the witness. So here I am." Tears streamed silently down Robyn's face. Christine buried her face in her hands. Janelle was shaking. And Kody, for once in his life, said nothing. Because there was nothing left to say. Savannah stepped down. As she walked back to her seat, the gallery stood in quiet respect. The judge took a moment, then cleared his throat. "In light of this new evidence, including sworn affidavits, financial discrepancies, digital surveillance, and witness testimony, I am freezing all Coyote Pass property transfers effective immediately. I am also opening an emergency judicial review of the Brown Family Trust and associated documents. Fraud investigations will commence as of this moment." The gavel hit the wood. The room burst into chaos. Robyn cried openly, begging Kody to fix it. He simply sat down, slumped, broken, quiet. Outside the courthouse, a crowd had gathered. Fans, reporters, former TLC crew. They weren't cheering, they were mourning because the truth had finally come out. And it was uglier than anyone wanted to believe. But just as the session closed, a final twist landed. A woman stepped forward from the gallery. She handed Christine a manila folder. "Garrison wanted you to have this," he said. It was the part no one else saw. Christine opened it, and her knees buckled. Inside was a birth certificate. Signed by Kody Brown. Next. To the name of a child Christine had never met. The folder slipped from Christine's fingers and hit the floor with a soft thud that echoed louder than any gavel strike. Papers scattered, but one document stayed face up, catching the light just enough for the courtroom to see the name printed across the top. Birth certificate. Christine's knees buckled. Janelle rushed to catch her. The judge looked up sharply. "Is there a medical emergency?" Christine's lips trembled. She couldn't speak. She simply pointed at the name listed under father, Kody Wynn Brown. And next to mother? It wasn't Mary, not Janelle, not Christine, not even Robyn. It was a name no one in the courtroom had ever heard. Tara Lee Dalton. Gasps erupted again. Kody stood as if electrocuted. "That's not mine," he blurted. I don't even know who that is." But Christine was shaking now, rifling through the folder. Her face turned pale as she read the accompanying document, a handwritten letter neatly folded behind the certificate. In Garrison's voice. Again. "Mom, if you're reading this, I found the rest. I found the sealed file in Dad's desk, hidden under the false bottom drawer. It took me 2 months to get it. Dayton helped. The woman's name is Tara Dalton. She worked with Dad on the Flagstaff loan restructure in 2016. She wasn't a sister wife, but she was his partner. And her daughter's name is Riley." "There's a child," Christine whispered. "There's another child." The courtroom froze. Judge Kelman leaned forward. "Who is Riley?" Janelle reached for the papers, scanning the page. "It says she's 10 years old now. Born in 2015. The file has medical receipts, a school enrollment, and a payout ledger, monthly, from a Shell LLC. The courtroom tech connected the dots in seconds. Legacy Hearts Holdings. That's the same LLC Robyn used for the boutique. Christine's voice cracked. Oh my god. It wasn't just used for decor and fraud. It was a funnel. He's been hiding child support. Secretly, behind all of us. Kody snapped. That's a lie. He lunged forward.